Ostrich saves his family. One day, Mama Sparrow found a giant egg all alone in the savannah. She rolled it back to the foot of her tree, and when a chick hatched out of it, she looked after him and loved him as much as her other sparrow children. The chick was much bigger than the other sparrows, with tiny wings, long legs, and a long, long neck. His brothers and sisters always made fun of him because he couldn't fly. He would try and flap as hard as he could, but he could never get up into the air. And after all the flapping and panting, the chick would get so hungry that his tummy would growl in pain. While Mama Sparrow fed him, his siblings laughed, saying all the food was making him too heavy to fly. One day, the sparrow siblings decided to have a flying contest. Whoever could fly the highest would win all the worms in the muddy puddle at the bottom of the tree. The chick knew that he couldn't fly, but he was so hungry and desperate that he decided to try his best. He climbed to the top of the tallest tree and jumped, flapping his wings as hard as he could. But his body was just too big, and he fell splash into the puddle of mud. His siblings laughed at him. "Ha ha ha!" they said. "That was the most ridiculous thing we have ever seen." The chick ran away from them in embarrassment. "I'm never going back to that tree," he told himself. He ran out across the savannah until he came to a high rock. He climbed it, and on the other side, he saw a herd of the strangest birds he had ever seen. They had long legs and long necks and small wings. They were just like him. They called up to him. "Hey, another ostrich," they said. "Come on down." So Ostrich hopped down from the rock and went to join the others. They greeted him with warm smiles and shared their food and asked him all about himself. Ostrich was so happy. He finally knew where he belonged. Just then, Ostrich heard a loud rumbling in the distance. "Watch out!" said the other ostriches. "It's a stampede!" They all ran to safety behind the big rock, and a herd of elephants stampeded past them. Ostrich realized that the stampede was heading straight for the tree where he had grown up. "I must warn my family," he said. "But we are your family," said the other ostriches. Ostrich knew that they were right, in a way. But he also knew that he was the only one who could save Mama Sparrow and his brothers and sisters. So Ostrich ran as fast as he could, leaving a giant cloud of dust in his wake. He ran and ran and he ran, and his legs pounded into the ground. He overtook the stampede and he kept on running. He reached the tree and skidded to a halt. "Quick, everyone! We must escape! A stampede is heading this way!" he shouted. His siblings laughed at him, but Mama Sparrow knew that Ostrich would never lie. The thundering stampede drew closer. The sparrows were frightened and didn't want to leave their nest behind. "What do we do?" they cried. So Ostrich lifted the nest onto the top of his head like a hat and started to run. He ran like the wind, speeding across the savannah faster than any sparrow had ever flown, until they were far, far away and finally safe from the stampede. And there, ahead of him, was the other ostriches. All the sparrows thanked him. His brothers and sisters felt very silly for making fun of him. And from that day on, Ostrich had two families. The other ostriches in the herd and his family of sparrows living on the nest on top of his head.